I was talking about it yesterday. Tell these women no. Do it for all men. Let them know that men are not just a paycheck for them. We're not just a lottery ticket, a means to an end, a come up. You know, what is she doing? She can't cook, she can't clean. She sits around with an attitude, goes out, drinks with her friends. Like, you're not even her woman. I mean, you're not even her man. You're not even her man acting like that. I mean, if a woman's treating like you like that and you think you're her significant anything, you are not significant. You're a significant nothing. And she knows she got you hook, line, and sinker. Stop paying these women's bills. Stop it. Stop it. You're allowing them to be bums. You're allowing them to just be nothing, and then they become nothing wives, and then they become nothing mothers. It all boils down to coming down to the children. And these women are getting away with it. I cited it as evidence yesterday. We got all these kids that are going into school, they're starting kindergarten, and they're not even potty trained. I mean, come on now. Come on. What is the woman's purpose other than sexual relations these days? We have just zero expectation. A woman can shout from the hilltops. She can go online and, like, I'm not this man's maid. I'm not doing anything for him. I'm not cooking for him. I'm not getting him anything out the fridge. You know, Men need to be catered to as well. Men need to be cherished. We need to be taken care of as well in our own ways. Gender roles are real. Men need to be the man of the house, but we also need a woman of the house. And boy, when we have a woman of the house that's taking care of the house and taking care of the kids and making you feel like a top-notch man and helping you achieve your goals, boy, you want to spoil her. Now she's got something to offer. She's got some worth. But all these women that just want you paying their bills, think that it's entitled that a man pays all their bills and pays to take them out on dates, these are liabilities, fellas. There's a million better things you could be doing. Anything is better to be done with your money than this. Like anything. Multiple streams of income is a must. If you don't have multiple streams of income and you're sitting there giving a girl a dime or a woman a dime, like, you're lost. You're lost. Step back, reevaluate your entire life. Take a look at that man in the mirror. Is that even the type of person you want to be, fellas? Is that the type of person you want to be? The type of woman who... You have the type of woman who just uses you? Is that what you want for yourself, fellas? Just women using you? Because that's all that type of dynamic is. There's a give, take, take. And when that take runs out, the love, the affection, the time, she's gone. She's gone. She doesn't want any part of broke you. You can't go through hard times with a woman you started out paying to take her out to dinner. Doesn't work like that. Sorry. Does not work like that. She is gonna dip. She's gonna be gone at the first sign of rocky times, unsettled seas. She is gonna be gone. She is not gonna put up with any of that. Well, I think you need to reevaluate, fellas. You need to stop paying these women's bills. Say no. I don't care if you've done it 100 times. Say no. It's not my place. It's not my job. You're not my mess. I deserve better. I don't care if you got millions of dollars in the bank. You could be investing that money, and everybody loves more. More money equals more security. So you're taking away from your own security. You're taking away from your own self, your own investments, your own building to build her. What type of sense does this make? You're taking away from building yourself to build this bum, this leech. This person who can't even pay their own bills. Isn't it an unattractive quality that when a woman has just no problem just even asking for something as outrageous as her rent to be paid or her car note to be paid? That's an outrageous ask. That's not humble. All it does is tell me is this is a woman who doesn't have her shh together. Obviously, if she needs people to pay her bills, then she does not have her shh together. Stay at your mama's house, do whatever, get your life together, sweetheart. Like, stop even asking. Like, asking just lets us know you are a low value woman. If you're sitting there asking and begging for bills to be paid or your hair to be done to even go out on the most simple date, you are a bum. You're a liability to that man. It should be the biggest red flag. Men, stop having a problem being by yourself for a while. That's a feminine trait in itself. Being afraid to be, not just to have some good old fashioned self discipline. Be by yourself. You don't need a woman's validation on the daily. You need to be building yourself. You shouldn't even be thinking about having a date a significant other unless you've already built yourself into somebody you respect. And you don't have any respect for yourself paying a woman's bills and it's not your wife. You don't. If she liked you that much and you were that tight to be paying bills, she should be living with you. Why isn't she living with you? And then there is no bills. But you don't want her that close. She don't want to be that close to you because most likely you aren't. 99% of the time you aren't even her only man. So it's just absurdities. It's entitlement. You guys look so weak. So many weak men. Then you'll see these women talking about their list of demands, and then you'll see these just spineless little weasel men just all in the comments. Like, they're on some women power stuff. They're just as bad as some females. They'll be like, oh, we're paying for nails and hair done all 2026. Like it's a flex to be a trick. Like it's a flex to be used. Like, this is not a flex to be used. It's not a flex. In your own way, you're just trying to say, oh, I have enough money to do it. So, come on, girls like me. You sound pathetic. Hey, how you doing? I'm not sure how to pronounce that, but Mikbakunin. How you doing? We're just talking about this entitlement. Women who think we should be paying for their bills and things like that when it's just casual dating, or you're even their boyfriend, or you're not anything to them if they have the audacity to even ask these outrageous demands. My day has been great. I woke up, I'm breathing. Went to the gym. Ate well. I can't ask for anything more. I got a roof over my head. My kids are healthy. Everything is grand. You have anything to say about the topic? You have anything to say about these women that their list of unrealistic demands, or these weak men who are caving to these demands? I don't know about. I don't care about shoes. That's just BS. That's just little BS hobbies. I'm not a big drinker. I don't go out or anything like that. I do have my little vices. I like my sneakers, stuff like that. But I don't. I have very few vices, but I do like my sneakers. But I'd really prefer to stay on topic. Do you have any questions about the topic? Do you agree? Do you disagree? Do you think it's okay in today's society Is that just the norm? Enlighten me. Is that the norm right now for women to just have everything paid for and have absolutely nothing to offer back in return but a pretty face? Is that anything on the topic? I mean, you got to have an opinion on it. Anyway, well then, thank you for tuning in anyway. I appreciate you, love you. But, if you think a woman is respecting you or is going to respect you or that respect is going to grow, it's not. Matter of fact, it's actually going to go the opposite direction. She's not going to respect you more the more you pay. She's going to respect you less and less and less until you say no, and then she's going to be gone. She's going to be dust in the wind as soon as you say no or you're not able. She's going to drink from that well until it's dry. But if you think that's love, that ain't love. If you think because she's around because you pay for stuff, you think she's going to be there when you're not, like, you're fooling yourself. She's not your down girl. Why would you even want to pay a woman for her time? Why? I mean, paying bills, that's paying for time. Paying for hairs, nails, etc., etc., etc. Some women want childcare nowadays. They say you gotta literally pay for somebody to watch their children that are not yours, for you to take them out to dinner. Or I see women talking about they need, when they're at dinner, they need to order extra food for their kids at home, so they order like 5 things. Users. These are bums. These are leeches. These are users. These are people you need to get out of your life. You need to be scraping people out of your life like that, like gum off the bottom of your shoe. Get rid of them. I mean, do you want to swim with weights around your neck? Because that's what you're doing. You can't swim with a beggy, needy woman. Most of these beggy, needy women, watch their attitude flip as soon as you say no. You're not a real man. You're not stepping up. Blah, 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 blah. They got so many excuses and BS. It just never ends. When the fact is they spent their good years of their life when they were young and should have been training to be wife material. They spent it partying. Now they're all partied out and used up. It's not your mess to clean up, fellas. It's not your mess to clean up. Once they've, yeah, if a man does refuse, she freaks out or she loses interest, and then she'll even talk bad about him to her friends. As soon as a man says no, he's toxic. He's abusive. He's not a real man. He doesn't step up, blah. They got so much garbage they'll throw at. I mean, what if men went around like that? What if men went around, that was their dating style? I mean, come on, you women, you want equal treatment, you want equality so much until you get treated like a man. What? Let's just flip the script. Men, what? Let's just go around. Let's see how long it lasts or how long it flies for a man to go around being like, I need a woman to pay for everything. All I have to do is show up, and now I want my bills paid. I want to be taken care of in every single way. I want an allowance. She's got to cook for me. I don't have to do anything but sit there with my pretty face and show up. That ain't gonna work for men. That's just not gonna work for men. And a real man shouldn't even want it to work for him. But obviously, and as that's an analogy, that it just would never work. Women want equal treatment, 50-50, until you treat them like a man, and then you're abusive and toxic. But they love 50-50 and equal equality when it's divorce time, and they sat around doing nothing, and now they want to take half your crap. And then it's time for 50-50. Men caving into this garbage behavior, it's hurting daughters, it's hurting sons. So we got these single moms, they got a laundry list of garbage you got to pay for for their bum lives just to take them out. And they got little sons running around watching their mom's behavior. Now the son grows up thinking that's how you need to treat a woman. Now the son can't even find love. Now he's in the same cycle as his dad. You know, babies, moms, not with the mom, single parent households. I mean, these women who are asking for that, I said it quite a few times. You know, we have a specific word. I don't want to say it and get flagged or anything, but they're service workers. When you have to pay to see a woman or spend time with her, you have paid for a service. These women are service workers. Do you want your daughters growing up to be a bunch of service workers? I don't want that for my daughters. Yeah, the actual stat on that is 70% of women initiate divorce. So that shows me more men are committed long term to the relationship, and 70% of women, in the stat I think you might be looking for, 90%. It's 90% of college educated women initiate divorce when it comes to a divorce. So I've I mean, men don't care. A man who has his together doesn't even care about a woman's degree. You know, he cares about her cooperation, her submissiveness, her able to give him children, and the way she takes care of the kids. You know, so the stat of 90% of college educated women file when it comes to divorce, they're the filee. Not so that only leaves 10% down to men. And women as a total, 70% are the ones to initiate divorce. Well, we've got a system that also rewards them for divorce. You know, they can pick up child support, they can pick up alimony, you know, they can pick up government assistance, you know, they can play victim, they can they can post on social media, I'm the mom, I'm the dad, I'm both. They can play to all their victim strengths. They can sit there and suck up BS attention from all their friends and sympathy and all that garbage no real man respects in a woman. You know, if a man isn't a threat to the woman or the child, he's not a drug addict, a man should be able to see his children just as much as a woman. But things like divorce and child support allows a woman to just dangle that carrot for 18 years in front of the man when he just wants to see his kids. That's all he wants, to see his kids. You know how expensive it is to see your kids? I know for a fact. You know how expensive it is to see your kids when you're not with the woman? I mean, it drives men into homelessness. I mean, it drives men to not having cars. It drives men into depression. It drives men into the ground. I 1,000% agree with you. They will, you know. Woman gets herself a good enough attorney, she'll take everything, especially if there's a couple kids involved. That man can sit there and work his butt off since he was in high school, be in his 40s or 50s. All of a sudden, he's living in a crappy condo, and she's got the house, the cars, the kids, half of every dime that he brings in, more than half, because she can get child support and alimony. Oh, don't worry about it. I understand. Happens to me all the time with the autocorrect. I I get the gist, and I appreciate you engaging because you're on the right path. We're on the right path. We're still seeing eye to eye, 100%. We're still seeing eye to eye, and after is it not talked about like what good is it for the children to just run the father into the ground, to just pulverize the father into dust? What good is that for the children? That's not good for the children. You know, just out of bitterness, a woman, don't let the man get fed up. Yeah, it's terrible for the children. Um, if a woman gets fed up, she can sit there and literally, she can get fed up. She can be the one to cheat on him and then still take all of his stuff. How does that work? She can experience, she can be the one to have the infidelities. She can be rude. She can give him a smart mouth. She can argue with nonstop. She can block his goals. She can just be a living terror in the household. And then she can be the one to say, I'm fed up, and take all his crap, take his children, take his house, take his cars. Man, uh, they said, I was seeing a poll. They were asking men the number one worst financial decision they made, and the overwhelming response was the person they married. Now, that's almost the whole topic of my show is you need to choose wisely, fellas. Men, choose wisely. Like, what? Stop ignoring these red flags. Stop ignoring these red flags. Like women who have their hand out when you very first meet them. There's, you don't find that a little bit morally bankrupt that when you first meet a woman, just because you find her attractive on the eyes, that she thinks she can put her hand out and ask you for large sums of money? Like, what matrix are we living in? You know, that's bad taste. It's rude. It's, it's crass. It's very forward. All the things you don't want in a woman. Things you should want in a woman: softness, submissiveness, cooperation. I never want to leave that one out. If you don't have a woman that's willing to cooperate with you, run, leave her. I don't care how long you've been with her. You aren't together, and you guys aren't working towards the same goals. Okay? If there's no cooperation, if you can't ask her the simplest things without getting a bunch of lip and attitude and smart mouth, oh, what are you doing? You're wasting your life, is what you're doing. You're wasting your resources, your time, your youth, your energy, your money. It's just all bad. And it's all bad. I mean, I'm a little bit older now. I'm not with this new generation where, I'm a happily married man. So I just think back in my day when I was out there and dating and things like that, like just the audacity for women to be like, hi, we just met. Can you pay my rent if you want to take me out to dinner? Like, no, I don't. I don't care how beautiful you are. I've said it once and I'll say it again. Say no to beautiful women. Just because she's pretty doesn't mean you have to say yes to anything. Don't say, have your boundaries. Be a man. Put your foot down. Laugh in her face. If she says something that's ridiculous, laugh right in her face. She's just letting you know no good woman that has your best interests at heart, or really wants to seriously date you or be around you or wants you for a husband or whatever, she's not going to lead with, hey, we just met, pay my car note. Like, oh, you want to take me to Outback Steakhouse, pay my rent, pay my electricity. As soon as, or even if you've met a woman for a week or 2 weeks, those text messages start trickling in. Oh no, I'm not doing good. I'm really stressing about this bill or that bill or this BS. That should be just as big a turnoff as when these women throw other men in our face. We should be like, ew, who raised you? They could have done better. Because it's a serious character flaw, is what it is. If you even think you have the audacity or the right to ask people, strangers, because if you just meet somebody, you're a stranger. You are. You're strangers. If you just met somebody, you're asking a stranger with just the shred of knowledge. The only thing you know about them is that they find you attractive. So that does not entitle you to use the man like an ATM. You always, You're using these different cash sending platforms. I don't want to say any. I don't know if I can. But you're sending all these women money all the time. Like that, you're buying love. Who wants to even be with a woman? You have to buy her love. There's a certain type of woman that we have a name for those type of women, you know, and you usually buy that love for the night. Not your girlfriend, not your woman, not your wife. You buy those type of women for the night, not long term. Are y'all crazy? Women who make you pay for the service of their time. And now, you know, you're trying to wife a woman like that? Or you think just because she's pretty that she's down for you because she's there when you have the money? When that money dries up, she dries up. Name me one of these entertainers that goes broke and his woman's still around. You know, name one. I can't think of one. Just maybe there is one, but we're not gonna sit here and reach for unicorns in the sky. You know, all these. You know, I see these professional athletes. I see these. You know, famous people, and good Lord, I think, where did you find these just have nothing, needy, ratchet women? Or like, where? Like you have a job where you can sit down at any table and hold your head up high, and you know people are going to be intrigued by what you do, and women are going to like you just because of your job title, and that you can say what, and you're sitting there scraping the bottom of the trash can. Look at that show, Basketball Wives. You couldn't tell these women were money grubbing leeches when you met them? That they had their own agenda? That they were using you for a leg up? These women, like, I mean, I just heard them talk for 2 seconds. I didn't even hear the content of what they were saying. Just the tones of their voices, the entitlement, the loudness, the crassness, the masculine energy that they just radiate like they're bosses. Like, you want a woman who goes around calling herself a boss, you ain't gonna be the boss, brother. Nope, she gonna be the boss. I don't want a woman that's the boss. I mean, I'm a little bit old school, you know. I believe in, you know, a man should wear the pants in the household of his. You know, if it's his household, you know, and if it's not his household, what are you moving in with these women now? You know, that should go out of style once you're past your 20s, you know, and get all that garbage out your system. You should know not to move in with no woman. So as soon as you have an argument, she can kick you out. She always will have a one up on you. Always, always. I see these bum dudes in their 30s and 40s shacking up with these women. What's wrong with you? You know, go get the most mediocre studio. You just have something of your own. Don't have a place where she always, like, literally, if you shack up with a girl, especially a woman who's, you know, past 24, where she's not all naive and stuff, she is the boss and she knows it. And you don't think every time she argues, she knows in the back of her head she can be like, get out. And then you got a trash bag full of your crap on the curb and you're calling up your homeboys. You know, all that's cool and sweet when you're in your young 20s, but as a man, you should be way past that. You know, I encourage men in their young 20s, don't never put up with that crap. Don't do it then. Please don't make the mistakes then. Your life will be so much better in the long run if you clean up all that mess when you're young. But I mean, you know, young people do make mistakes. You know, I for one, you know, I don't even want to get into my 20s. I was a wild boy. But we all make mistakes when we're young. Life is a learning experience, but are you learning from it? Are you going through all this BS? You know, are you learning for it? Are you still falling for these same type of women instead of getting your own life together? You know, get your own life together. Do you. Before you have any business paying any of these women's bills, is your life together? Are all your goals met? A man shouldn't be paying no woman's bills or any upkeep on a woman unless all his goals are cemented. And he still shouldn't be doing it because she won't respect him. You're going to have all your goals met and you're a high value man now. And now you got to go get one of these slumming bums of a woman. No, once you get your value up, you shouldn't be paying for any woman's bills because you want a higher grade of woman, and no high grade woman is even going to ask that. She wouldn't. She'd be embarrassed. You think women who come from good families, not broken homes, who came from mothers that actually taught them how to be a wife, you think those women going around saying, "Hi, I just met you, pay my light bill"? Nah, that's so petty. It's so petty. They don't even realize, it doesn't even register upstairs that they could just be a decent person to this high value man who actually does have the ability to take care of her, to be a decent person for a couple weeks, a couple months, a couple years. Because you get in with him good now, then you actually really are good and don't have anything to worry about. But he respects you. And it just seems like a win-win for everybody. Just seems like a win-win for everybody. You get to respect yourself. He respects you. You know, he doesn't feel like he's being used every time he speaks to you. I mean, we got OF models now that are taking men on these rides. These men have not a chance in a stormy HELL to meet these women or have any interaction with these women personally. You're never gonna see her in real life. And you got these men paying to do the slightest things like message. It costs money to every time you message her and she message you back. It costs you money. We got a bunch of sucker dudes out here who are paying just to message women. Are you flipping serious? Have some dang self-esteem. Paying a woman just to message you, send you messages, interact with you? Is that how low you're gonna go? How do you look yourself in the mirror? I mean, it's a $1 billion business. OF models are making, there's billions of dollars being spent on them just to message them and for them to, you know, and it's probably not even them. They probably, the high value dollar ones probably have some assistant. You think the ones that are making $30 million a year are sitting there really messaging your bum ass who lives in your mama's basement? No. Come on now. It's a mixture of embarrassment and stupidity. Paying a woman just to message, like, whew, I thought it was bad when men were paying to take a woman out on a date or getting their hair done, nails done, just to take her out on a date. But paying just for messages, for correspondence? What is wrong with you fellas? What are you teaching your sons? What are you teaching your daughters? How do you live with yourself? How? Do you look at yourself and be like, yeah, I'm a good, high value man that women should respect? You don't even respect yourself. You don't even respect yourself, but you want a woman to respect you? Not one of those women who's getting paid just to message a man respects not one of those men. Not one. The percentage is 0. You know, she respects that money inflow. You'll never talk to that woman again as soon as you ain't paying for those messages. It's embarrassing. It's just so embarrassing. Men, we are doing it to these women, letting them get away with this, and that's why it's becoming a phenomenon. I mean, it's just everywhere. It's all over online. Just the women's delusional demands just to date them. Swipe right or swipe left. I don't know which way it is, but swipe if you're not ready to pay $2,000 rent. I need a new car. My kids need this. Like, excuse me? Excuse me? Like, you for starters, have no morals to even be asking something like that. You just don't have any morals. You weren't raised right. You're entitled. Society, all your bum friends got you gassed up. You know, single women is on the rise. Women dying alone is on the rise. Men have died alone already forever because we don't put up with the BS. You know, we die sooner. You know, a lot of men do things. You know, we're out there in the world doing things that are more risky, so it also drives our age of death down. You know, more men died. You know, back in the day, of course, it was like in combat, in wars. You know, you don't see too many women doing like the Evel Knievel thing, trying to jump buses on a motorcycle. You know, probably smart. I believe in self-preservation, so I'll give them that one. But you know, just relationships period are on the decline. People aren't having kids. Relationships, people are single, but single women is skyrocketing, and I see why in each and every single time that I see one of these needy entitled women open their mouth. I just I don't know where this ends. I don't know where this road ends because I just see a bunch of kids having kids. You know, they're mentally kids. I'm not, and you know, you could be mentally a kid, and some of these women, you better believe, in their 30s are still mentally kids, and then their 40s still mentally kids playing a bunch of games, thinking they're gonna score that high quality man that's gonna swoop in and save their life like a lottery ticket. So there's a lot of men too that are mentally kids, and that's my point because it kind of boils down to the parenting and what are we even teaching the kids anymore. Look at we got the men who are accepting it and doing this, paying to message women, paying to take them out on dates, paying their bills, and that's not even their woman. It's just becoming so socially acceptable. And love, women should want to be respected. They should, where there's, does love fit in anymore? I mean, cooperation. I understand that there's a lot of details and a lot of dynamics, but you know, since the beginning of time, there were people who they just fell head over heels in love with each other. This is my dude, this is my woman. Like, I'm gonna ride or die with them through thick and thin. I like, is anybody even enamored with anybody? Is anybody cherished anymore? Is any man even respected for his mind or his plan or what he can build? Is it just, I mean, like I said, men are just judged on our finances now. That's our whole self worth is our finances, and a woman's self-worth is just some imaginary crap she just made up in her head. It's just whatever fantasy number she thinks, usually she thinks that she deserves a man that makes a certain amount. Whatever that certain amount is, that's how much he needs to make, and that's her self-worth. This man needs to make six figures, so because I'm a six-figure net worth woman. No, you're not. No, you're not. 9 out of 10 of them are fives, less than fives. They're threes with kids and baggage and trauma and drama and all the other crap, entitlement, delusion. And then they think that a man is an established, high value man is just supposed to swoop in and lottery ticket their ass. You know, uh, it's a joke, it's delusional, it very rarely happens. So, you know, maybe just being okay with, I mean, if you're a five and you got a bunch of baggage and kids and, you know, you're overweight and whatnot, there's nothing wrong with dating that nice guy that works at Home Depot that really actually likes you. He likes you. He thinks your big ass is fine as he's digging everything about you, but you want to give him the cold shoulder. You want to give him the cold shoulder because he doesn't make 500,000 a year, and you think you deserve to be on princess mode. You got kids by men that aren't even his. You think you need to be on princess mode, being traveling all around and being bought Birkin bags and living the life of luxury when you've made a bunch of horrible decisions in your life that this man now has to pay for and clean up. It's not your job, fellas. It is not your job. Don't do it. Stop doing it. You know, excuse me. When y'all gonna realize that once you build and work on yourself, your pool of women just gets bigger. The attractiveness of a woman, more attractive women are attracted to you. You get yourself together. Worry about yourself. The only thing you should be worried about, until your money's right and your housing is right and your goals are met, is working on you. Any dime you're spending on her is taken away from working on you. You know, I'm not saying anything that's very deep here. We're keeping it super simple. You know, if you want that type of woman who's actually worth being a wife, if you want that type of woman who's, you know, you got to be that type of man that's worth having her. You know, women are attracted to jerks, bums, drug dealers, all that stuff. You know, when they're in high school, 22, 23, she ain't got it out of her system by 23, 24, absolutely max tops, then she never will. Max tops 24. At 24, her golden years are, they're coming to an end. Once you're, 26, 27, 30's right around the corner. Men look for beauty, fertility, cooperation, kindness, softness, submissiveness. We ain't looking for that woman who's dated 50 guys and that's 32 and she got a kid by some dude who's locked up. No high value man is gonna deal with any of that. We're just not. It's not happening. Why would we? Why would we? We can go get that 22-year-old. We can go get that 25-year-old. Why would we deal with a 35-year-old with a smart mouth? Just because women say, oh, you date a younger woman, that's predatory. That's not predatory. Men have been attracted to younger women since the beginning of time. There's nothing predatory about it. But let Cher or Madonna date somebody 50 years younger than them. Oh, these women are clapping. You get it, girl. You do your thing. No, it's not good for them. I appreciate you sticking with me and still listening. If you have it in your heart to give me a follow, give me a follow. It's not good for them at all. And back to my point is, if we flip the script and a woman is dating a younger man, oh, women love it. They love it if we turn, if it's the woman who's in her 40s, 50s, and 60s, and she's got a 20-something-year-old dude. I don't know how old Madonna or Cher's man is, but, they are, in their 70s? And these, 40, 50-year-old age gap, and women celebrate it. You go, girl. Let a 40-year-old date a 24-year-old, and all of a sudden he's a predator. It's because they're hypocrites. It's always good for them. They don't want to see it for the man. It's just pure jealousy. They hate each other, and they hate a man who can clearly do better or get better than them. And a man who has his together, he has options when it comes to women. Paying her bills is for the weak man, because a man who has his together, he would never, because he There's just too many options. Why would he pay all her bills and she got a laundry list of problems and bills when he can go to a woman who has none of that? I mean, that's just, it's like, it's not three strikes. It'll be like strike one, strike two, strike three, strike four, strike 17. You know, I'm sorry, women went through a half a dozen relationships in their young 30s already. No, that's, that's a bunch of clutter. That's a bunch of stuff men don't want to deal with. There should, body count matters. Body count 100% matters. We don't want the drama and the trauma from a bunch of past relationships. Man will be called, he's not a real man because he doesn't want to take care of kids that aren't his, and he wants to start a family with kids that are his. But and he's a jerk, he's toxic, he's not this, he's not that. But a woman can say, oh, I prefer a man with no kids because I want to have all my kids. That's perfectly fine. It's always perfectly fine. you know Women can be like, I need a man that's a over 6'2". I need a man who makes $1 million a year. I need this, I need that. And let a man say, oh, I need a woman with big breasts. I need a woman that weighs less than 120 pounds. Oh my gosh, the absolute storm of crap he's gonna hear for talking the same way women talk all the time. I advise men, don't date broke women, don't date women from broken homes. I mean, it's just statistically, dating a woman for a broken home, it's much more likely for her to create a broken home. So, you're playing the odds. If I got my money on the line, I want to play the best odds I can, and putting your odds on a broken woman, and then she's a broken woman. She's had 8 broken relationships from the time she was 16, 15, 16, all the way till she's 35. Her brain is scrambled eggs. When it comes to taking care of a man, she's so on the defense. What can he do for me? No man that values himself wants to deal with that. You know, maybe maybe a man who's 30 years older than her and is just blown away that a woman in her 30s is even talking to his 65-year-old ass. We can get a lot of that too. But if you don't think that's serving its own purpose, it is too. Absolutely, it is. That's kind of a trade-off for, like, you're gonna put up with this 40-year-old age difference, and you get to be, and I will clean up your mess. So, and if you think any of these women who are demanding all this money just to take them out to dinner, if you think they have their lives together and their wife material, like, if nobody's told you yet, let me be the first one to tell you, these are not wife material women. You're just setting yourself up for a broke bank account, a broken heart, stress. You ain't gonna reach all your goals with all that mess in your life. All these women are broken. They got smart mouths. They argue with everything you say. They're not cooperative. They have their own agenda. Whatever happened to people working together in a common goal? That should be the goal. You want somebody who's got your back, by your side. One of my favorite sayings is, if she is not helping you, she is hurting you. There's no gray area. There's no gray area, fellas. If she's not helping you, she's hurting you. If she's hurting you, leave her, run, block her. Some of these women are putting that loving on you so tough you feel like you're addicted to her like a drug. Block her. Block her. It's like you're on a diet, but you need to throw all the junk food out. Throw her out with the junk food. She's ruining your life just like that junk food is ruining your body. Take your butt to the gym. Even if you're in shape, go to the gym more. There's always room for self-improvement. We can't control many things in our life, but what we can control is what we put into our body. We can control this right here, ourself, our body. Go to the gym, drink water, stop eating all that processed garbage food, all those dyes. You know, you think all that processed food and all that trash and soda and all that crap, you put that into your body, you don't think that's clogging up your mind? Of course it is. You don't think it's built like that and made like that to clog up your mind? Of course it is. You know, if you find yourself even tempted to pay to message a woman, pay to go out for her to go out on a date, you're paying for her to like you. If you're tempted by any of that stuff, block her. Focus on you. Get in that mirror. Focus on you. Hit the gym. Start eating right. Start researching and reading. Another lost art, reading. Don't just invest. Every man needs multiple streams of income. But don't just invest. And research what you invest in. Not what some meme says about some dumb crypto, you know. And I'm not trying to talk bad about any type of investing. I mean, there's people who made tons of money in crypto, but research what you're investing in, not because some dumb F. Don't listen to me, don't listen to anybody. Do your research. Do your research about what you're investing your money in. Don't invest in fads. Don't invest, you know, little trends. Look at the price of silver right now. Price of silver just, I looked earlier today, it was over $90 an ounce. Like little $16 silver ounce rounds a couple years ago, even not even a year ago. I mean, they might have been like $21, $22 a year ago, but you know, just think if some of those men dumped all that money that they had spent on these dumb bum women with their hands out. Just think if they had just bought a bunch of silver rounds with that, you know, couple $1,000s for one date. According to these women, you need to spend a couple $1,000s on a date or you ain't nothing. And they're telling us online that we're nothing if we're not prepared to do that. So that's why I'm using that as an analogy. You know, a couple of those $1,000 dates, you would have bought some silver with that a year ago. You'd have like $20,000. You know, why? I mean, if you can afford more, then more power to you. I mean, I know there's men who spent thousands, way more than a couple $1,000s on some of these women that are bragging to their friends what a sucker he is. Now he pays for everything. She ain't got to do nothing. Just think if you invested, just think if 5 years ago, 7 years ago, you know, instead of spending all that money on that woman, you would have just bought a little Bitcoin. You could be rich, depending on how much you spend on the woman and, you know, the funds transferred to the investment that you should have done. A lot of men were spending a bunch of money on these women. You don't even got her number no more. You don't even know how to get in contact with her anymore. And you sitting there out here, and you know, I'm just using this to say, whatever it is, whatever you invest yourself into, number one, research it, but investing in these women to like you or buying love is the stupidest investment. You know? I mean, it's like almost saying you blew all your money on drugs because women are your drug because you don't know how to control yourself around women. Just like when people get amped up on a drug, they, you know, I'm only going to spend this much. They end up spending everything they have, every dollar in their wallet, and That's how you guys are with these women. I'm gonna, oh, maybe she'll like me after this date. Maybe she'll like me after this. She'll like me after I know. She never liked you to begin with because you started out with your wallet out. She never liked you. She doesn't like you. You're a sucker in her eyes. She laughs at you behind your back. You know, some men have fetishes for being used by women, but no high value man does. No man who values himself. That's just pure, weak man's energy. Sitting there letting a woman tell you you owe her anything. She ain't your child. She ain't your child. She ain't your mother. She ain't your blood. You don't owe her nothing. Nothing. And when you don't owe her nothing and she expects everything, red MF flag, brothers. Run, 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 run. You know, there's a lot of a pretty face doesn't equal entitlement. And that's what they think it is. And all of them think they're pretty. Social media got all these women thinking that they are just tens. Like, literally, you will ask a woman, be like, hey, where would you rank yourself on a scale to 1 to 10? And the women who compete in Miss Universe, the Miss Universe contestants, they're the tens. Okay? Dancers, Hooters girls, Twin Peak girls, you know, like those little restaurant bar girls, they're like 7, 8s. Where do you know, you're overweight with 3 kids and you're 34 years old, where do you rank yourself? They'll be like, well, I'm a 9, 8.5. Like, social media and these sucker men that are so thirsty have got these women's egos so blown out of control. It's, I don't even, it's just not even based in reality. like not even a little bit. Like, they're on Mars. Like, even a average broke dude gonna look at some of these women and be like, I'm 4, 5 in their head, you know, in their head, 9, 10. You know, you ask a woman where she to rank herself, she'll never go lower than 8. And there's a lot of women who aren't even close to 8. But if you ask them, they're all 8s or above. And then, you know, self-love is one thing, but, you know, stay in reality. That construction worker, you know, that just regular manager at AutoZone, you know, that guy who's a nice man, who's a hardworking man. You know, I'm sticking up for those guys because they are just being told they're broke, they're nothing. They can work 50 hours a week, you know, bust their butt for their family, take good care of their kids, put their kids first. But then they got all these legion of women online telling them, and just in person, like, you ain't nothing because you don't make $250,000 a year. This man busts his hump. He works with his hands. He's a real man. He's out there, you know, building and doing things. Could be helping people. It's never enough. It's never enough. Men are judged. Their worth is judged by their finances. It's just end of story. That's how it is today in society. And it's sad because the bus driver, you know, we still have, men are needed in so many capacities, but, you know, it's like, it almost is like you can't even blame some men sometimes for trying to explore alternative ways of money that aren't very legit or maybe illegal. But, you know, the pressure from society is just so much. Like, you're just considered just nothing if you don't, you know, if you don't make 6 figures. That's like the very, very bottom of it. Like, if you make anything less than 6 figures. I seen a little girl online. She's like, these guys said they make 6 figures, and that number that they make is 101,000. Very small percentage of the population even makes 100,000 a year. So he's already a top earner, and you're making fun of him because, his 6 figures isn't 6 figures enough for you. What do you do? What do you do, bum? What do you do? Live on social media, wait, trying to sucker in as many guys to ask for things as you can and hope it pans out enough to pay your bills? You got women who don't even have a bed frame. They got their mattress on the floor, sleeping on an air mattress, the dirty ass blanket, talking about they need a man that makes more than 6 figures. Get the F out of here. Living in a roach infested, dirty fast food wrappers and cups all over their dirty air mattress on the floor. I've seen it. I've seen women that you'd think were drop dead gorgeous, the way they go out and look, and the way they're looking when they go out. And they come, you go to their house, it's filth. It's just pure filth. They're like little rats in their nest. Don't let them have one of those little dogs that they think is cute. They have dog crap and urine all over the place. Just sleeping in it, just living like a big fat rat in their filth. I've seen it so many times with beautiful women whose apartments and bedrooms are just disgusting. Just disgusting. A woman with a messy house has a messy life. You pick up one of these women, you want to wife a woman with a messy house, messy car, you're going to have a messy life. She is going to come in and mess up your life. That's a first sign. You see a messy apartment, you see a messy car, messy bedroom. You know her life's not in order. You know that woman's life's not in order. Red flag. Stop being so thirsty, men. This thirsty attitude of putting up with these filthy, broke women, can't even clean up, doing laundry. They going out to the club. They putting on the same dirty clothes they picked up off the floor. And we just, you men are catering to it. You're making it okay. They really want to be rescued out of this filth by some knight in shining armor, high value man, top earner, rescue her out of her filth living and put her in a luxury car and a mansion. It's a delusion. It's entitlement. I mean, I'm saying it out of my own mouth right now, and I'm like, dang, this sounds like a fantasy for children. Is that where we're at? We're just dealing with a bunch of overgrown children? Because that's what it feels like. It feels like we're dealing with a bunch of overgrown children, and the men that are putting up with it are overgrown children. The men that are condoning it, that are okay with it, that are, it's not okay. We teaching our daughters to be service workers for money. I'd be appalled if my daughter was like, oh, I don't know this guy. He's got a send me $700 in cash before he can come pick me up for this date. I'd be like, what? What are you doing, sweetheart? Because that man ain't gonna respect you. He don't respect himself. Just inviting the disrespect. You're showing, hey, I'm a weak guy. I'm a weak guy. Treat me like garbage. Use me. You don't think when women start asking for mystery bills that pop out of nowhere and the rent paid, you don't think they're testing you? They're testing you just like a child, pushing the limits. Will he say no? Is he going to say no? Oh, he said no. Okay, he's toxic. They're testing the limits with you. That's all they're doing. They're going to push and push and push until you say no, you break, you're fed up with it, and then it's going to be your problem, and you're not even going to know her anymore because your money's dried up to her. And when the money dries up, she dries up. Her love dries up. Her time dries up. She's gone. I mean, run from these broke women. Run. So, I advise you to excuse me for 1 second. Sorry about that. Yeah. On the topic, just run. Run from these type of women. It should be the biggest red flag. Should be a huge, huge red flag. That she's got her begging ass hand out when she doesn't even know you. I mean, is that not a red flag to you, fellas? She don't even know you. Is she that cute? Are you that thirsty? What's going on here? I don't get it. I mean, help me understand. So, I'm going to take a 5-minute break and then use the restroom, and I'll be back. Thank you for the people who have been listening. Give me a follow if you find it in your heart. Thank you. Just try to fix something real quick. I'll be back in 1 minute. Oh. Ooh, sorry about that. Okay. All right, back to the topic. Grab my little sign here. You know, I'm just have to reiterate, if men weren't putting up with this, women couldn't get away with it. And it's trashing women's reputations. It's trashing men's reputations. It's taking all the romance, love, respect out of relationships. I mean, there's a time and a place for those type of women, but it's not wife. It's not long-term dating. It's not somebody you want to let into your personal business, into your world. You don't let these type of women into your world, and you're trying to buy them into your world. What's wrong with you, fellas? What's wrong with you? Is this just where we're at? We're paying women for their time, and then they're expecting it. We're paying women for their time, and that's just what they should expect now, huh? You weak dudes are ruining it for everybody. Maybe there are some men out there who actually want a woman that cares about them, actually enjoys their time. How do you know if a woman even enjoys your time if her time has a price tag? Huh? I need answers to these questions. How in the heck do you sucker dudes that are paying these women ever know if she actually enjoys your company? Just one of the most simple, basic, standard things in a relationship. Do you guys enjoy each other's company? Are you compatible? Do you like being around each other? You don't even know that. You don't even know the most simple, basic foundation of a relationship. It's just all out the window the second you open up your wallet and you're paying for dates and rent and all the other lists and needs these bums have. I'm not calling all women bums. I'm not anti-women. There's a lot of good women out there, but those aren't the ones who are expecting a man that they don't even hardly know to pay all their bills. That's not a good woman. That's an unrealistic woman. She's even surpassed gold digger, because these women are expecting men who clearly can't even afford that type of taking care of a woman. They're asking men to go above and beyond what they're even doing for themselves, and that's also another one of my points on my show. Just stop doing it, because you need to be working on yourself. Men, work on yourself. Multiple streams of income before you ever think about paying to get a woman that ain't your wife's hair done. Never, ever. She can't even, that should, a human hair is basic self-care. Did they forget the self in self-care? Even if you're married, it's not your job to keep up her self-care. That's something she needs to do by herself. I'm not saying she has to, I think married couples, there should be a somewhat of sharing monies, but I mean, you shouldn't be thinking about, as a man, oh, I need to make sure her hair is done. No. She can make sure her own hair is done. She can take the money from whatever pot y'all got or account. That's not the point. The point is, a high value man is never sitting there. A man who values himself is never sitting there think his day is about being more successful, being a better man than he was yesterday. It's not about worrying about this woman's hair. It's just not. Her lashes, that's another one of these crazy lashes. Men are spending a fortune on something that we don't even care about. No man has been ready to date a beautiful woman or date a woman and turned her down and was like, dang, I just wish those lashes were a little bit longer. I've seen a man say, I wish her breasts were bigger. I wish her butt was bigger. I wish her natural hair was longer. I've never heard a man say, I wish her lashes were longer. That's just all. Y'all just doing that for other women. You're just trying to, I don't know if it's a length thing, but that's for women. You're doing that strictly for your crowd. And when you're trying to attract a man or be a wife or a husband, what are you doing things for these other bum women for anyway? These women want to take what you have and they'll tear you down the minute you turn your back. Nobody's more evil towards women than women. Yeah, I mean, but y'all always out to out impress each other. How about you impress your man? How about you impress your man with how cooperative and loving you are? Won't you make sure that man is so comfortable at home and there's so much peace he can really focus on his goals? Now he can really focus on his goals because he has peace at home. You know, man who doesn't have peace, he's got one of these argumentative, rude, smart mouth women. You think that'll kill all your goals. It'll kill all your ambition. It'll leave your mind fried. It'll leave you in a mental state of where you're not vibrating on the level you need to be. You're in a state of anger instead of appreciation. You're in a state of frustration instead of kindness. You know, you're in a state of always in strife instead of building your finances, building yourself. You know, every man should have a plan. You know, your plan should always be to be your own boss. I get if you're a doctor, you're a heart surgeon or something like that. More power to you. You're saving lives. We ain't talking about that. I'm talking about every man who with a regular job, who's doing a regular thing. That job needs to be a stepping stool. That isn't the ends of all means here. That's not like you use that job to better yourself in life. You should never call another man boss. That's another big one. Never call another man boss. Another man, don't call him a boss. Don't call him your boss. Especially around your woman. Don't call another man boss. That's such weak energy. If you're at your job site or whatever, you can be like, he's the manager of this establishment. Be like, he's the owner of this establishment. He's the supervisor of this section. Don't ever call another man your boss. That's so weak. No man should have a boss. And your goal at that mediocre job where they want you to call somebody boss, that job should be a stepping stool for you to be self-employed. Because the goal at the end of the day for every man should be his own boss, to be his own man, to wake up in the morning on his own terms, start his day and do whatever he wants on his terms. You know, you're operating on another man's dreams terms. You know, you're showing up for that job. That job was another man's dreams. That was something another man built. You're just fitting in as a worker. No, I don't care how much you're getting paid. Your goal should be to, you know, be yourself, be your own man, be your own boss. You are your own boss. I don't care if you sweep the floors at McDonald's. You need to have that mind state. I'm my own boss. I'm only working at this MF until I save up enough checks to do this, to do that, to get to the next level in my life. And then, you know, when I move on from that, I'm just doing that to level up. Every man should be in a constant state of leveling up all the time. You know, I say it all the time. I want to be on my deathbed when I'm 90, like telling my sons, you need to do this, you need to do that. We need to do this for the family. We got to make sure this is done. You know, the plan never ends. And women see when the plan ends and you're content and you're all soft and all you want to do is lay up under her and Netflix and chill. You know, no respect for anything like that. They don't respect that. You think women respect a man who all he wants to do is lay up under her and watch Netflix and order food from the app and lay around? Nah. I don't care, fellas. If you don't got a job and you're with a woman, you ain't got anywhere you need to be during the day, you know, for any reason, regardless of how much you have in your bank account, whether you got a nickel or $1 million, no, you don't ever act like your day is void of things to do. That's weak energy, and your woman will pick up on it. You fill your day. You get up and act like you fill your day with I don't care if all your money can be made by your phone, which happens all the time now. You don't even need to leave the house. You don't need to do nothing. There's people making good livings off their phone. Now, I respect it. Good for you. That's awesome. But If you have an abundance of time on your hand and you have a woman, you take your butt to the gym, you stay active, you stay busy. Stay busy. No woman likes a man who's just always sitting around. He ain't got nothing better to do than spend all his time laid up under her. You know, women like men with exciting lives. You know, it's sad but true. You know, stability is seen as boring. This guy who makes $80,000, he's a hard worker, loves her to death. He's nothing because he only makes 80 grand, but but he's a good-hearted man and he takes good care of her. But it's never enough. You know, sorry, women. Your daddy might have told you that you a princess, but you're not all princesses. You might have been one at one time, but your own BS decisions, you know, took the princess out of your life. You know, you ain't a princess no more. You got multiple baby daddies. You ain't a princess no more. You ate yourself sloppy. And you expect, oh, I need a man who likes a thick woman. I need a man who is man enough to handle this thick woman. No, you need a diet. You need to get rid of that gut. No man sits at home designing his perfect woman in his head and be like, oh, I want a girl with a gut. No, not one. Never heard of it. No. And I'm not talking about some dudes with some weird fetish. We're not reaching for unicorns in the sky. You know, you're sloppy. These women that are like 3s and 4s sloppy, thinking a man needs to make 6 figures. I mean, that's delusional. It's delusional. I don't know why they think they can get away with just having their hand out for money from dudes they barely know. Or even if you dated him a couple months and all of a sudden you ask for your rent to be paid. What? That'd be the last month I ever knew you. Just because you asked. You know? Move back in with your mom. If you can't afford your rent, then I guess you need to be a child back in your bedroom. Go work and save up. Don't no man need to be paying your rent. It's not his job. And it's not his obligation. A strong man says no. Say no to a woman. You know, I don't care if she just stepped out of Miss Universe. I don't care if she is Miss Universe. I don't care if she's Miss America. I don't care if she's the most beautiful thing you've ever laid your eyes on. You tell her no if she asks you things that are out of bounds. Have some damn self-esteem. You know, these women asking for the sun, the moon, and the stars. They ain't got nothing to offer but falling back on their backs and spreading their legs. Let's just keep it real. They have nothing else to offer. They say, oh, I bring a feminine vibe. Well, most of them don't. Most of these broke, begging women, they got bad attitudes too. That's not a feminine vibe. You bring a masculine vibe. You already brought a badass vibe by begging and asking. Nobody wants to deal with your vibe. Maybe some weak men do. Yeah, you can get away with that with some weak men. I'm talking to high value men who value themselves, who see something in themselves, that would never be hindered by you begging bums, thinking that they have to pay for something when we don't even know you. It's just absolutely ridiculous. Have some dang self-esteem, man. Have some dang self-esteem. You shouldn't be paying for all these women for their every whim. Every woman thinks their lifestyle should be that of like what they see on these social media sites. Them, like, if you ain't got them riding on a yacht with their friends, you're broke. They're holding out for that type of guy. Well, that type of guy who owns that yacht, he can afford to pack that hot tub on the yacht with 5 22-year-olds. He can afford. He has his option pool is huge. He can afford that yacht. He ain't looking at you broke women with your hands out. You know, especially with all these, you know, flawed mentally, flawed physically. You let yourself go, had kids. Now you think you need a man who's gonna be toting you around all over the world like you some model on social media, just buying you, constantly spoiling you, and buying you this and buying you that, and taking you shopping. I mean, you might find that in a man that doesn't value himself, but they're far and few between. Even men who even make that much. They're top earners. People who can even really even afford those type of things are, you know, 3% of the population, 5 at the very most. Uh, Cut that in probably down to 25% of even those men, because most of them are already married. I mean, so you're showing us you're not wife material the minute we meet you and you have your hand out. And you're not to be taken serious. You're selling your time for money. You're a service worker, you know. And that's fine if that's what you want, but don't be crying around when you're, you know, starting to get into that danger zone of age and nobody wants you. You're all used up. You partied out. I've seen it a million times. Women are all used up, partied out, done this, done that. Their life looked so exciting. Now they got nothing to offer but a high body count. And they think men should turn their head and be like, "Oh, body count doesn't matter." Absolutely it does. Absolutely it does. Men don't want a woman that hundreds of men have had access to. Men don't want a woman who has a crew of male friends. She got a bunch of male friends that have access to her. High value man does not want all these dudes or men, a bunch of men having access to his woman. And here these women are wanting to be taken seriously, and they're throwing other men in our faces like it's like that makes them cuter to think all these other guys are doing this for them, or doing. Most of it's lies. They're talking about the men are doing this for them and doing that for them, and they got this guy stalking them and this guy chasing them. They're literally telling you about all these different men that want them, and a real man just going to be turned off more and more and more and more. Why would you even come on a date and discuss other men? Men can't get away with that. What if a man goes on a date with a woman and he hardly knows her, and he can't shut up about other women? He'd be considered rude. Women do it all the time. They do it every day. They go out on dates and just shove other men up in the man's face, or their boyfriend. They'll shove men that they work with up in his face. It's all just manipulation and tactics. It's just comes from a low self-esteem woman who's really trying to validate herself, because a real man is gonna like her for not having all that garbage in her life. You got all these, like, it's not a flex, ladies, to brag about all these dudes that want you to a man that you really seriously want a relationship with, or you could see yourself with down the line. It's just, you're just polluting the water. When that relationship should be pure and clean. And that's almost one of the good things about a relationship, is you can kind of start fresh. They don't know all your crap and all your garbage and all the every dirty detail of your life. Men and women too. But the women will throw all those dirty details out on the table for the man to know immediately. Like, why? I don't need to know all that. Keep some personal things personal in your personal life. have some dignity. Talking about all these dudes you're dating and all that stuff, you just sound like you're getting used sexually. Because I know how men are, and you're fitting the type of woman that gets treated like that, and you seem to enjoy it. Being treated like that seems to validate a lot of y'all's self-worth, which is just so sad. It's sad. You got your self-worth tied up into how many women, how many men have slept with you or want to sleep with you, or, you know, you're used up. They don't want to, admit it. They want to, oh, I'm celibate now. I'm a born again virgin. There's all kinds of ways women will be like, okay, I'm a virgin again. No, you're not. No, you're not. And no man who sleeps with you after you said that crap feels like he slept with a virgin, or he feels like he accomplished anything. It's almost like just putting up a fake fence, an imaginary fence around a garbage pit. Like putting an imaginary fence around, a swamp, a polluted swamp. You put an imaginary fence and saying you're a virgin again, and those waters have been muddy. That is a polluted hole. And just because in your delusional mind, just like women can make up their self-worth in their head, that number, they make up, they're pure again. You're not. You still got all the mental baggage, all the drama. There's still men that have been in between your legs. You're like literally, women are just literally saying, I'm doing the virgin thing again. Like, I'm a born again virgin. I'm celibate. So once your life has been messed up and all these dudes ran through you, now you're celibate. That would have worked for you when you were younger, but and I'm not talking about the resell. Staying celibate when you actually were a virgin. That might have worked for a woman back when they were younger, but saying you're now a virgin again, that's just more garbage delusion that men have to put up with. Like, now you've got a fence around your box that never had, that everybody's used. Like, men, don't try to climb that fence or break down that fence or act like that fence even means anything. When she starts talking like that, run. It's just delusion. It's not taking accountability. Just saying, she's literally just saying I had a really bad selection in men, and this is where I'm at now. And now other men that didn't give me a hard time, or I didn't give a hard time, now they have to pay the price for all my garbage decisions in the past. And it's not our place. It's not our place. It's not our job. High value men don't go playing janitor and cleaning up the slop that she's turned her life into. I don't care, how pretty she is. Tell a woman no. Don't be a sucker. Don't be out here paying for things that's not your obligation when you could be using that money to invest in your own future. I bet you there's a lot of men who are getting older right now who wish they could have a lot of money back that they spent on these women, or just handed. Where are they at now? Where's the woman at? All those women, they ain't nowhere to be seen. Hard times have came and they gone. They out. You start a relationship with your wallet open. As soon as you close it, she's gone. As soon as the money dries up, her love, her affection dries up, she's gone. It happens 100% of the time. I've never in my life seen a dude who paid a woman to like him, and then all of a sudden he goes broke, and or he has a hard time, or he has some bumps, things going on with his family or something like that, and she's like, I'm gonna stick around and really be the rock solid person for this, just because of all the nice money he dumped on me when we first met. Get out of town. it doesn't work like that. You know, it just doesn't work like that. It's You need to run from these type of women. I'm not talking about block them. I'm talking about run. They're users. They're leeches. That's all they're doing is using men and make it in the norm. And it's becoming the norm. And it's a very, very sad state of affairs we're in. We're in a society where literally men are told that we're weak if we won't spend the last, of our money on some woman. A lot of these young men, they can't afford this. I'm telling these young men that they're weak or they're broke, or that's broke energy if they not ready to pay all a woman's bills. They can't even afford themselves. Look how expensive things have got out here. I feel bad for these young people. It costs up to $10,000 just to to move into an apartment these days. Those days of those $99 move-in specials, the first and last month free, those are gone. I don't know how young people are making it out here. Now you got these young men, you're getting it in their head that they need to be paying all these women stuff too on top of theirs. And until you find a good woman, be prepared to be alone and build yourself. Be prepared to be alone, build yourself. Work on yourself. I've said it 1,000 times. I'll say it 1,000 more. Multiple streams of income should be your goal. Your money working for you in your sleep should be your goal. Clearing the clutter out of your life, and that could mean family. That could mean friends, the people that don't align with your plan, your vision. People that are doing the exact same thing they were doing in high school. It's years later. They still doing the same BS. Get them out your life. I'm not saying we can love people from a distance. But those people are toxic dream killers. Those people usually don't want you to excel because you'll pass them up. They want you doing the same garbage they was doing or they're doing. Very, very few people enjoy seeing people doing better than them. Friends, family included. It's really a sad, vicious cycle. It's crabs in the bucket. It's like, we got to cheer on our brothers. We got to cheer on men doing well. We got to cheer on men taking a stand and not putting up with the garbage. Being strong enough to tell a woman no. I was saying that yesterday. Telling a woman no is a superpower. Telling a beautiful woman no is a superpower. They never get told no. It's so rare they'll fall for you just because you tell them no. They're like, wow, this dude is actually not kissing my behind. Be in a class or a job or somewhere where you got to be in the same area as a beautiful woman and ignore the crap out of her. You act like she doesn't exist. I promise she'll come around like sniffing, like a dog on a tree. Like she'll wonder what's up with you. She'll want to know what's going on, why you're not acting like the rest of the men and bowing to her every whim, kissing her butt, always giving her attention. The superpower is not giving them attention. The superpower is ignoring them. The superpower is telling them no. Boundaries. Women respect a man with boundaries. If you're paying her bills and everything, you hardly even know her. You don't got no boundaries. She don't respect you. Women respect boundaries. They respect a man who won't break his boundaries for you. Woman's like, what? You got a strict schedule to go to the gym. Sorry, sweetheart, my time is occupied right then. No, she thinks it's God's gift for a man to even be able to be able to spend time with her. And then you be the man, be like, no, sorry, I'm busy. Maybe another time when I'm not busy, when I'm free. Set those boundaries. Let them know. I'm not going to be a pushover. Men are expected to be pushovers nowadays. They're expected to be pushovers. They're expected to be doormats. Women they ain't gotta cook, they ain't gotta clean, they ain't gotta watch the kids, they ain't, you know, they ain't gotta do nothing. What's expected of them? Zero. We're just supposed to let them be princesses in the house that just don't do anything. And it's just absurd. It's ridiculous. You should want a woman who uplifts you. You should want a woman who compliments you, who cherishes you. We don't even have women who cherish their men anymore. They got so many dumb bees in their ear talking about, oh, don't cater to him, don't be doing that for him. These women, you don't even got a man. You got women who got a man that's in jail, or who they have to deal with DV situations where they're getting hit on and stuff like that. But then they want to give you advice. They want to give the happy friend who actually has a good man advice. They want to ruin her life. They don't want us. The women hate seeing other women happy. They're one of their biggest downfalls. If women wanted to see women happy, they would see their friend with a good man and be like, don't ask him for that. Don't ask him for that. Like, you don't know him like that. That's good advice. Like, he's going to think you're a gold digger. He's going to not respect you because you're begging and asking for something, when he doesn't even know you. No man that values himself is going for any of that BS. We're just not. A lot of these men have worked too hard to be sitting here messing with these entitled, rude, because it's entitled and rude to ask a man who you don't even hardly know, or even if you do know him, you gonna ask him to pay your bills. They're called your bills. Did you forget the your part? If you can afford them, go back to your mama house. Go back to your parents' house. Get your life together. Go get that communications degree that doesn't pay nothing more than a McDonald's supervisor. Whatever you gotta do. You don't have a high value mindset to be a high value woman anyway if you're asking a man to get your hair done or your nails done or your lashes done for you to even go out on a simple dinner date. And the men who are doing it are super weak. Those weak ass dudes making it rough on everybody. Now these young kids, these young men can't even find a good woman because we had so many weak dudes teaching these women and these men that this is the new norm. And it shouldn't be the new norm because it's just rudeness, it's disrespect. You think you're going to have a long-term, fulfilling relationship that starts out with a woman who said you got to pay her to take her out on a simple date? It doesn't happen, bro. It does not happen. You're in the sucker category. There's a friend zone category. There's a sucker category. You fell into the sucker category. Women have all kinds of categories. They have the man that she's with category. She has the man that she'd like to be with category. She's got, her list of dudes who send her money. They even got those on different files. It'll be like, this man will send this much. This man will pay my entire rent. And they use each file, how much time and how much energy and how much effort and how much texting, how much corresponding they have to give to each one to get a certain amount. It's a whole hustle, fellas. It is a whole hustle. And there's a lot of weak men out here falling for it. And they're falling for it. They're making it bad for everybody. They're making it bad for all men. And they're making it bad for women. When it gets bad for women is when they get out past that danger zone, nobody wants them anymore, Why would a high value, they looking for six figures, that man who can make six figures, he's over there, he's got him a 25-year-old who cooperates, listens, she's cheerful. She doesn't bring all that masculine energy because she hasn't been traumatized by 10 terrible relationships that haven't worked out. She's not full of drama and bitterness and anger. So she's cheerful. She's fun. And then men will be chastised for wanting to be with somebody who's cheerful and fun. And everybody wants to be with somebody who's cheerful and happy. Sorry, some of y'all women don't project any happiness in the way you speak, the way you talk. It's just pure bitterness. It's bitterness teamed up with what we owe you just for you existing. We don't owe you nothing. Nothing. We owe you nothing. Y'all women are a liability, a bill. No man with self-respect, self-esteem, self-worth wants anything to do with a woman like that. They just don't. They just don't. That is a huge, huge turnoff to a real man. You know, I'm not talking about the weak man who is going to scrape up what he can get. There's a lot of weak men out there, but you're preying upon them. They're being preyed upon. And, you know, some of them like it. That's the only way they can get an interaction with a woman, but that's why they're weak men. They have to pay for it. But they're never respected. They're never going to be in a relationship with somebody who's like, yeah, that's my man. That's my leader. I respect him. I'm going to follow him through, you know, this ring of fire. She ain't going to be that woman for you. As soon as that money dries up, she dries up. It never fails. It's almost like Father Time, undefeated. Because when time goes by and that money dries up, boy, she ain't even going to remember your name. And you sitting there sending her money for bills. You could have been taking care of your family. I mean, doing anything, literally anything. And if you got kids, if you're a man with kids and you're doing all these idiotic things, paying women's bills, paying women to go on dates, and you got kids, they better be absolutely immaculate before, or you're really a sucker. They better have every school supply, clothes, fitting. They better have, the fridge better be full. And I'm not talking about you paid your child support. I'm talking about, as a man, you know your kids are good. Like, they good. Like, they need for nothing. You got men who babies' mothers can't even get them to buy the kid a pack of t-shirts, but you paying another woman's bills and paying a woman to go out with you. You lost. You're weak. Your kids sense you're weak. The woman senses you're weak. Your baby's mother senses you're weak. Everybody knows you're weak. You know, you ain't got no business paying for nothing for a woman unless your kids, you know, are getting the best education. They have everything, like everything. And, you know, a very small percentage of men can even afford to do that. But we got a high percentage of men paying women's bills, paying for their hair, nails, lashes, childcare, etc., etc., etc. Their list never ends. If their list ends and a man fulfills that list, she'll add more to it. Like, yeah, he's still got some money left. Let's just keep adding and see until he burns out. Or he figures out what I really am as a leech. Or he goes broke and I leave him. You know, those are pretty much the avenues. It's almost like saying drug dealers are got two places that they end up, dead or in jail. Well, you messing with a woman like that, it's gonna be for sure. You're gonna end up broke, or you're gonna lose her, or both. You know, say no. Say no. You know, it's important that men can be praised, men can be cherished, men can be appreciated. And that type of behavior is showing a man he's not appreciated from the jump, from day one. It's showing the man is not appreciated. He's only appreciated for one single thing. For one thing is that man appreciated for, and that's what he can do for her, his wallet, his money. You know, is it a lost art to even want to get to know somebody anymore? Like, if I'm going to share my life with somebody, I want to get to know them. I want to know it's somebody who isn't going to drive me crazy. I want to know it's somebody who, when I go through hard times, she's soft and nurturing. We got men who go through hard times and there are women kicking them while they down. I was talking to my man yesterday about that on here. It's like he said he was going through one of the worst times in his life, and all she did was hassle him and kick him while he was down. I mean, I hope to God he's not with her anymore. What does it take? What does it take? Like, do not women not realize that when you treat us good, we treat you good? Being unreliable, flaky, rude, smart mouth, like, that's not cute. They think that's boss energy. That's not boss energy. That's bitch energy, and no man really wants to put up with that long term. It'll drive a man absolutely insane to be always arguing in his own house. It'll kill his goals. It'll kill his ambition. It'll kill his libido. It'll kill everything he's working for and he loves. You got some. You're trying to build your goals, build your kingdom, build your own dynasty, whatever you got inside your head, what you're trying to work towards, and you can't even be peaceful. You can't even be at mental peace inside your own house because of these women. Because as soon as you say no, the entitlement, then you got an attitude, then you got a pouting little child in the corner. So, they won't even admit when they're wrong. You can say that you can have this exact conversation with a woman and she won't admit she's wrong. She thinks she just needs to get it all. Like, don't you want to get to know a man? Don't you want a man to know you and like you to be with him? Yeah, but he's got to pay. Like, you just missed my whole point. You missed my whole point. He's got to pay for this. I need to know he's a real man and willing to pay. Like, willing to pay for you bums doesn't make us a real man, ladies. Sitting here hustling us to pay your rent and bills. I don't want to say us because it's never me. I just see it and I think it's embarrassing. This is just for the weakest of men. You want to test that and see what he'll pay, but then you actually do have to spend time with this weak man and you don't respect him and you don't even like him. You can't stand being around him, and it shows because y'all attitude. You give him all this attitude and you men be paying for everything and you still giving him attitude and talking crazy to him. Obviously that's behavior that's learned. Probably watched your mama talk crazy to, I'm not going to even say your father, because it was probably men she was dating, because you probably came from a single parent household yourself. Broken home. This is broken home behavior. This is broken home behavior from women that come from broken homes, who make broken homes. Now, the only thing they have to offer in life is their handout. Their handout begging. Begging. They're beggars. They're leeches. They're bums. I don't care. I'm going to say it more. Because it's embarrassing and we're tired of it. He's not stepping up. Stepping up to what? Your bum ass? He don't need to be stepping up. You don't even give him nothing to step up to. Matter of fact, dealing with you is a step down. You're lowering his own integrity, his dignity, messing with you. Your smart mouth, and now you expect him to pay for everything. You're bringing an attitude around everywhere you go. Can't even go out to a meal. Smart mouth. Can't be at home watching TV. Smart mouth. Can't be on the golf course. Texan smart mouth. Can't be out at the sports bar watching the game with his friends. Texan smart mouth. Attitude. Nagging. Gotta be the center of attention, but don't want to give anything back. Nothing to offer. That man, is he gonna go home and have a home cooked meal on his plate? I doubt it. I highly doubt it. And that's the very least. Is the house going to be clean? You're going to give him a house that smells good and it's clean to come into. And he can skip through that MF and like feel like, all right, this is my piece. Now I can really move on to the next step of building myself. Now I got this good woman that's got my back. Now I can really step up, because two heads can be better than one. Absolutely, two heads can be better than one. And men realize this, but women don't. That guy at Home Depot that makes 60,000 a year, you know, you make 40,000, 50,000 a year. Together, that's almost 100 grand. But you're like, I'd just rather keep my little 50 grand to myself and hold out for this millionaire that's fantasy knight in shining armor that's supposed to swoop in and lottery ticket my life. And it just doesn't happen. Then you get old and you die alone. You get a cat. This is not a sustainable system of expecting men who can't afford it to pay for everything for women whose life is a mess. We're not saving y'all. Our job is not to save y'all. Marry you, treat you like a woman, make you a wife, make you a mother, provide you with a home to raise our kids in. That's our job. Our job is not paying for your child's child care when it ain't even our child, just because you're leveraging or blackmailing him with your looks. Only idiots fall for that. Saying he's got to pay for your child care, this or that, for you to even go out the house and spend time with him. Only the weakest men fall for it. Only the weakest of the weak men fall for it. Only the most horrible women ask for it. It's a lose-lose situation for everybody. There's nothing to gain for the man. The woman thinks she's gaining something. Well, I got this bill paid. I got this little bill. You don't have a lick of self-respect. And that man doesn't respect you. You're like, oh, he's got a lot of money. I want him to wife me up. He don't respect you once you start making a list of demands and asking for a bunch of BS. He don't respect that. And if you found a man to respect that and he acts like it, more power to you. But you don't better believe in the back of his head that crap is getting old. And crap gets real old real fast. Even the most weak suckers of men, they catch on eventually, ladies. It's just not a free-for-all forever. Every man knows no hustle lasts forever. These women think they just hustle this man and do their own thing forever. Like they could write him on his taxes or on their taxes. Like, this man gives me this much of money. Bank it for next year. Don't bank it for next year. And men, don't let them. It's not normal. It's just not normal to be sitting here just scrolling through a phone, texting a bunch of dudes to pay your bills, and whatever one man answers, that he's, lucky you. You're fishing, just going through their call log or their contact list of suckers. He texted me good morning. Well, I'm gonna text him it would be if I could pay this light bill. Like, such a turn off. Why are these men even doing this? Where would these women be if they didn't have a bunch of suckers to fish for to pay their bills? Are they, be working at Walgreens, CVS, past your prime? All the jobs like bartending, when you can make a lot being cute, past your prime. Those bars, they trying to hire that 21-year-old, that girl who's fresh in college. Lord knows if I owned a bar, I wouldn't be hiring a 35-year-old or even a 30-year-old bartender or waitress. Absolutely not. I'd be hiring the type of women that brought the most customers in, obviously. The type of women that bring more of men in. The more men, period, the better. The more sales for me. So that means I'm going to be hiring bartenders and waitresses that are in between 19 and 25 years old, and watch the men flock in to see them. And you think I'm wrong, they have entire restaurants dedicated to that. Have you ever been to a Twin Peaks, a Hooters? Is literally a couple of $1 billion businesses that are built around putting a little young hot college girl and letting men come into a place they know they can see them and flirt with them. You know, a lot of those women that work at places like that, they're young, they're sweet, they're cute. They end up meeting high value men all the time. I've seen it. I've seen it. All they are is cheerful and cute. And they got the type of men that you would love to have. You're 32 years old. You're used up, partied out, but you think you're a vibe. You think you're a boss. You got boss energy. You got masculine energy, and you're fat now. And you're sure fatter than you were when you were their age. Back when you were 23, 22 years old, 21, bartending waitress age. Come on now. There's, you know, they're not on a shortage of dates. But you think a man needs to value you because you got a degree in some garbage? Men don't care about your degree. We don't care about your degree. We don't care about your degree, your education, your job. It's meaningless to a man who values himself and has his together. We don't care about any of that because we can afford to live on our own without your help or your check or your income. All our goals are met by we've already got them, or we can afford them. We can afford that house without you chipping in. We can afford the matter of fact, if you just want a bunch of stuff and you start out as one of these women, you're in a liability. You're holding him back from all those dreams with your petty wants and needs and having to pay this bill and that bill. That's all money that could be going to him building. Build, 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 fellas. Build yourself. Build yourself before you even think about building a woman or paying for a woman. If you're paying for a woman, you're telling me you got all your goals, man. You got countless millions in the bank, because it doesn't take millions. It takes millions nowadays to live comfortably. Not a million, not close to a million. If you're planning on living, another 20, 30 years, a million ain't cutting it. But we got men that don't even have close to 10,000 in the bank, helping pay women's bills, paying women to get their hair done and their lashes done and that type of garbage before they even take them out on a date. Why would a man that has the ability to take you traveling all around the world and do things like that, why would he want to if the first time he meets you or the first week he meets you, you got your hand out begging? No man wants that BS. No man wants that trash in his life. No man needs it. I think that a lot of men will accept it. Got tons of men that'll accept it. If they're low quality men that you're gonna have no respect for. It's the type of man that you can give attitude to, and you're gonna always, every time you're around him, you're gonna act annoyed or like he bothers you, because he does, because he doesn't even respect himself, and he's a low value man who started out the relationship by paying for all your crap. Now you're stuck around spending your time with this annoying little Buster, little Buster Brown, little sucker, little dude who don't got no self-esteem. He ain't got no masculine manly energy. You got all the masculine manly energy in the relationship, and the relationship ain't even a relationship, it's a hustle. And she's winning. And when your money's gone, she's gone. It ain't gonna fail. It's a recipe for disaster. It happens many times. It never works out. I mean, lots of men marry these type of women. It happens all the time. Lots of men marry these type of women. Look at the divorce rate. 70% of women, the ones to file divorce. It's almost like they're marrying these suckers and then being like, nah, I think I would just like to divorce him and just like to have his money and not him. That would be the ideal situation. Because once you marry him, she can't have your money. And she ain't got to deal with your little weak butt anymore. Your little weak self, non-respectful, non-boundaries having weak man. She ain't got to deal with your butt anymore. Once you wife her, she can just have your money now and not have to deal with you. She can get rid of you. She can get the court, she can get the judge, she can get the lawyer to remove you from your own house. Now she lives in it. Now every dollar you make, you got to give 50% of it or more, if you done had a couple kids with her, to her. That's a raw deal. Choose wisely, fellas. Choose wisely. If you're not choosing wisely, you're going to end up with some woman with half your crap. She's going to be living in your house, driving your cars, spending your money, and you're going to be in some crappy condo. You're going to be in some crappy apartment. Trying to get yourself together. Trying to maintain. Trying not to jump off the balcony head first because this woman is taking everything that you've worked so hard for. It happens every day. Happens every day. Man loves his kids. He ain't even got his kids no more. He ain't even got his kids no more. He ain't got his money. He ain't got his house. He ain't got his cars. The judge might let him have one car. Woman gets everything else. I seen a basketball player the other day. I'm not going to name his name, but his woman was pretty famous and had money. When they both came into the relationship, they're both famous, both had money. They get a divorce. Judge still gives her everything. Like multiple houses, cars. He literally rolled away from that divorce with like one car and a fraction of his money. Is that what you want? That's not what I want. That sounds like a nightmare to me. That sounds like a freaking nightmare. That man probably been working on his athletic skills since he was a little boy. Been working on his talent his whole life. And you have to give everything, including your children, your house, everything to a woman, and just you can have that. You got nothing but crumbs and a car left. Like, what? That sounds like a nightmare. That's a horrible deal. That's a miserable deal for any man. And why would any man, I'm not anti-marriage. I'm anti-marrying these type of women. I'm not anti-marriage. I'm anti-marrying these type of women that are so entitled. They think you owe them something and you don't even know them. You just met them. They think you owe them money to go out on a date. They think you have to pay their bills. You don't owe them jack. And that's what they should get, is jack squat. You don't owe them nothing. Just the amount of entitlement. It's delusional. It's fantasy land. It's like they took fairy tales from when they were a kid and put them on steroids. No man can go around talking about how he just needs to meet this right woman so he can basically just retire and do absolutely nothing for the rest of his life. Can you imagine if guys that were in their 20s were just sitting there, or guys in their 30s were like, I'm working this jackhammer doing road construction right now, but boy, when I meet my dream woman, she's gonna just swoop me off my feet, and we're just gonna go start island hopping in Greece, and we're gonna start traveling the world, and I'm gonna start dressing better. I'm gonna get me a luxury car. All my goals are gonna be met suddenly by me meeting the right person. But all I do is work the jackhammer, fixing roads, drink beer at night, and come home and do nothing. Watch sports. They would tell that man he is an absolute psycho. He's delusional. No woman deserves that. No woman's gonna do that. Women do it all the time. Women do it every day. Women that work at Walmart, stocking shelves. When I just meet that guy with 6 figures, that's how I'm getting my car, my life together, my wardrobe. My hair is gonna be on fleek. He's gonna give me an allowance. I ain't gonna have to deal with this job anymore when I meet my man. Like, what? Y'all gonna die alone? You're gonna buy a cat? That's such terrible energy to even go through life with. Paying these women's bills, paying for their hair, nails, lashes, child care, outfits just for them to go out the house. You're crazy. You're crazy. You don't respect yourself one simple bit. Just no respect for yourself. I don't care how much money you have or don't have. You think there's just a bunch of men out there who can afford to do this? Most young men in this country don't even make $40,000 a year. And these women have 6-7 figure ambitions for all men. What are you telling these younger men? You tell them they're like, you ain't nothing. That's what they're telling them. You ain't nothing. You're nothing. This man could have a plan. He could have a plan like no other plan. He could be driving a Toyota Camry with $1 million in the bank, but his $1 million is planned out for his future, and he's using that $1 million to make himself more money, to make himself other streams of income. And these women will be like, I see that Toyota Camry. That's some broke energy. He's not dressed up in designer clothes and faking it like the rest of these people. He's not keeping up with the Joneses. He's not flashy. He's not cool. He drives a crap car. This could be the smartest young man with a plan who's going places. Y'all killing his self-esteem, telling the world that him and all other men ain't nothing because they don't make 6 figures. There's a lot of good men who deliver mail, work for UPS, do road construction. These men are getting tossed aside and told that they're garbage, they're nothing because they don't make 6 figures and drive a Mercedes, and they don't have the money to buy her a Mercedes and whatever else she wants or thinks she's entitled to, because apparently they're entitled to everything. We're entitled to nothing. What can a man get away with saying he's entitled to? A man can barely even get away with saying, I want a good woman. What's a good woman? What do you consider a good woman? A woman can say, I need a man who's 6'2", he has a 6-pack, he needs to have a mansion, 5 bedrooms, he needs to have a luxury car. He needs to take care of my kids that aren't his. He needs to give me an allowance. He needs to give me an allowance for my hair, my nails, all that stuff. They list of demands be long as a damn phone book. List of demands as thick as a Bible. Would ask them what they can give in return, what they have to offer. Sexual pleasure, Um, that was it. They have one thing to offer, and some of them aren't even good at that. Man can do that himself, honestly. And before he's paying a woman's bills or paying her to take her out, he should be doing it himself. I would rather. She's not worth it. Matter of fact, that sounds like an absolute problem. And it goes deeper than that. We got all these women online now, they're holding up their receipts. I mean, they're so petty, they're bringing home receipts from dinner. And like, this is how much a man needs to spend to take me out. If he's not taking me out to a $500, $1,000 dinner, don't even ask me out. Like, it's just getting worse and worse, and they're bragging about it and they're bragging about it, and it's dragging down society. It's eroding love, it's eroding trust, certainly eroding self-respect, because no self-respecting man puts up with that stuff. No self-respecting woman would ever ask that stuff. It's just, you know, tell me you're a garbage broke woman with nothing to offer without me knowing you that well. Start asking for that crap. Start asking for that stuff. It's not your obligation, fellas. Don't do it. It's not your obligation. She ain't, and it's not that she ain't worth it. Well, if she is asking those things, let me correct myself. Then I don't think she's worth it. She's asking you to do this and that. You know, don't do it. She's showing you what type she is. She ain't worth nothing. You know, said if you're a low value man and that's literally the only way you can get women to hang out with you, why aren't you working on yourself? Why aren't you working on yourself? No, that's a big one. No, if this is where your life is at, where you need to pay women just to even hang out with you, and you got to do, get their nails and lashes done, and give them fork out $400 before you even sit down to eat with them, or more. I mean, why aren't you working on yourself? That's not self-respect. You have no self-respect for yourself. And she sees it. These women see men who don't respect themselves. You're like a wounded sea lion in the ocean. They're like a shark. Like, oh, he has no self-respect. He's wounded. I'm going to get him. I'm gonna nibble on him and chomp on him and take everything I got till he's not left with nothing but a set of bones, an empty carcass. Because they ain't going to stop taking. Once they know they can take, you think that take's going to end? It doesn't end. Doesn't end. Matter of fact, you're just letting her know that she can take more. Take more. All take, no give. What kind of way is that to live, fellas? That's no way to live. It's no way to live with just some, you know. There are good women out there. I'm not anti-women. There are women who are taught self-respect. They were taught how to be a wife. They were taught how to be a good woman. That just respect. Like, you don't even respect me as a human. You start asking for me to pay major bills. I'm asking men to pay major bills, but when you don't even know him, you're not even treating him like a human. Treat him like an ATM machine. You know, there are women there are still women that cater to their man, that cherish their man, that appreciate their man. There are lots of them out there. They're getting farther and fewer between. But you got to work on yourself to find them. There's no roadmap. The only roadmap is taking care of yourself. The roadmap is taking care of yourself, working on yourself first, building yourself up into be the man that can get those type of women. You know? And there's beautiful women like that too. Build yourself up. Build yourself up. Get that money up. Multiple streams of income. Work on your body. I said it a lot yesterday. I'll say it again. There's no man with his money right. I don't, regardless of age, men don't hit their ceilings. There's no men with their money right and their body tight who have a hard time finding a beautiful, good woman. You know, a lot of them make mistakes, and she turns out not to be a good woman. But there are good women out there. But you gotta be, if you want a woman of value, you gotta value yourself first and foremost. You gotta value yourself. Once you value yourself, the women of value start gravitating to you. Because women aren't stupid. They are automatically attracted to protectors, to hunters, to gatherers, to the stronger men of the herd. The stronger men of the herd always get more women. They get their choice of women. And that's the difference between us and animals. Animals, they just, what they grow into, they grow into. But we don't have to ever stop growing. You can start building yourself. Animals, they grow, they don't hit their peak. You can be in your 30s as a man. You can be in your 40s and be like, this is now, and make that decision in your hand. In your head, though. I'm gonna flip that switch. I'm gonna grow. I'm gonna build myself into that, to the one of the stronger men in the herd. I'm gonna be one of the stronger men that women are gravitate to. Way more than looks and being cute. Women gravitate towards strength, stability, foundation. A man with boundaries because he respects himself. A man that respects himself is so deadly. I keep telling y'all fellas, y'all going against the grain. Y'all showing weakness, paying all these women's bills. Women are attracted to strength. Women are attracted to strength. Stop acting weak. You're attracted to women, aren't you? You're attracted to women. They're attracted to strength. But you paying her bills. You don't even hardly know her. You're letting her get away with asking you for things before a date. You're showing you're one of the weaker men right then and there. You're showing you're not even one of the weaker men. You're showing you're some of the weakest men. Be strong. Love yourself. Love yourself first. And if you don't love yourself, give yourself a version of yourself to fall in love with. I mention the gym all the time, but it's what you can control. Start with your body. A man can't control anything else. He can control what he puts into his mouth. He can control his body and working on his body. You might not be able to flip a switch and in 6 months be making six figures. That's, most people can't. It doesn't have work like that. This is years process. I'm giving you starting points. Starting points start with the gym. Start with dedication. Start with not breaking routine. That damsel in distress calls you, but you're supposed to be at the gym. Sorry, sweetheart, I'm gonna be at the gym. Call me later. I got things to do. I'm working on me. Stop giving in. She'll always be in distress about something. Stop falling for it. Bunch of suckers. All you guys, stop falling for it. You're enabling this behavior. You're enabling this behavior because the more men that start doing it, then women starts catching on like wildfire, and then now it's expected. Now this is expected. And too many women expect it, and too many women are looking like service workers that sell their time for money, and I'm not going to call them what they are because I'm trying to keep my chat friendly and not vulgar and all that good stuff. But there's a very broad term worldwide for women that sell their time and services to men. And that's exactly what you look like when you're asking to have your bills paid by a man who doesn't hardly know you. You only known him a very brief amount of time, or he needs to pay you to even get you out the house. It's absolutely ridiculous, the entitlement. Could you imagine men being like, oh, you need to, before I'm even going to sit down at a bar with you, before I'm going to go out to dinner with you, before we're going to go out and share a meal before we're gonna go out on a picnic, whatever. You need to send me $500. I need to get my fade together. I need to get, I need to buy a new outfit. I need some new gym shoes. What if men went around saying stuff like that? We'd be ostracized. You know, we'd be looked at as toxic, misogynist. You'd get called a misogynist so quick if you said, if a man had in his dating profile, you must send me $500 for my outfit and my haircut before I will even think about going out on the date with you. Could you imagine his comment section? It would be outrageous. It'd be absolutely outrageous. It'd be so filled with hate and women dogging him out. There'd be even some sucker dudes dogging him out. Like, that ain't right. Even though women do it every day. Every single day. They get away with it like it's cool. We're teaching our daughters that it's cool. It's not cool. There's nothing cool about representing yourself like a service worker. Like a woman who provides a service for money for a man that you want to be serious about. Come on, women. Deep down in your conscious, like, we know you don't want to die alone. You know you want a good man. You want a man that's nice to you, that respects you. Stop passing him up because he doesn't make six figures and demanding these dudes who don't even can barely take care of themselves pay for dates, pay for your bills. I see men, a bunch of brown, scraggly, cavity riddled teeth paying for a woman's rent. You taking care of a woman before your own teeth? You taking care of a woman before you taking care of yourself? It's embarrassing. You're feeding the beast. You're making it okay. You're another weak man making it socially acceptable for this garbage. So, I'm going to sign out on that topic. I appreciate the people that listened. Give me a follow if you can, if you find it in your heart. I love y'all that took the time to listen. Men, be strong. Tell a woman no. Don't think this is the norm. It's not the norm. It's not the norm for you have to clean up her messes and pay up her bills and pay to take her out. It ain't normal. It ain't cute. It's not your job. It's not your obligation. I'm Ryan Redford, and I just like to tell y'all good night. Maybe I'll jump back on a little bit later, but thank y'all. Anybody who listened from far, from up close in my chat, anybody who took the time to listen for even a second, thank you, and good night.